Hello, this is Rolf Versluis with Horizen, and I'm here with Rob Viglione. We are your host today for the 6th of March 2019 Horizen Monthly Live Update. Just like every one that we've done so far since we launched and got things going, we're going to give you all an update on everything that's going on, and then stick around and answer questions at the end. And the place we're going to be looking for people to ask questions is on the chat of the YouTube live stream, and also if you're on the Discord, in the chat on the Discord. So I will now hand it over to FinPunk, to Rob.
Thank you very much, Rolf. And like Rolf said, guys, ask away. If you have any questions, if you're watching this, it's because you have an interest in the project. And we love giving you these monthly updates, but really these are for you, and treat it that way. So what we have coming up here, the usual sequence. If we can go to the next slide, please. So we're going to kick it off with the community highlights, then do a quick biz dev update, which is quick but a big one. Then we'll go with the development and project updates, and then we'll hand it to Alan to do secure and supernode system updates. Then Lucy will do the marketing updates, and then we have a whole host of regional activity. And guys, if you notice this cool looking video here, with some of our team, we actually put this together a while ago, and it was just aired on national TV in the US, so on Fox Business. And it was a little segment with Rob Lowe narrating on our privacy and blockchain, or our mandate here to bring privacy to life, why it's important, and what we're doing with blockchain technology to make that happen. Really good to get that kind of national TV exposure. It was very well done, very professional. I'm very happy with the team that put it together and then got it out there into the broadcast media. So next slide, please. Our community, the most important thing that we have going on here. So 3 big shout outs here, guys. So we've got Bittrex GW, who put together a Horizen node monitor. So really cool there, guys. You can actually monitor the network, your nodes, and everything in one compact location. Thank you very much, BitCrypto. And Mustafa, you and the guys have been absolutely killing it with, I think Rolf mentioned earlier, 4 countries in Africa. We've been doing a series of meetups, and Rolf's going to get to that detail later on in the presentation, but absolutely killing it. The community growth going on in Africa because of you and your team there has been phenomenal. Super happy with that and love to see that continue. And then Raul, being such a supportive and positive community member in the Latin American communities that we have, we need more of this. So thank you very much for Raul for your contributions. So guys, you've done an amazing job, and anyone else that you see in the community, whether you just notice someone going above and beyond or helping you specifically, or just contributing to the community and our ecosystem, please email Erica or reach out to Erica at Horse Feathers on Discord. Next slide, please. All right, so the big BB, the big BB update for us here is we had our HitBTC listing this last month. One of the major, early crypto exchanges out there that we had not been listed on up until this last month. We have 3 different trading pairs, so BTC, ETH, and USDT Tether. So really good news here. Rowan and his team constantly getting out there and getting us new exposure, new listings, new integrations, and other partnership ventures. Oftentimes in the background because we can't talk about this stuff before we actually go public with it, right? So we would love to give you updates along the way how things are progressing. But these kinds of things are binary. It's 0 or 1. We either have the deal in the works or the deal already actually made public. So we have some other good stuff on the horizon for you, but this was a really big win for us this last month. Really happy for it. So thank you for the team for making that possible. Next slide. And this goes to one thing that we've had going in the background, and what we realized is maybe a lot of our community members or the general public is not fully aware of what we have going on the engineering side, especially with recent acquisitions that we've had or growth of our team. So we're just highlighting here 5 absolutely phenomenal and extremely senior, competent, new members of our engineering team. So starting with Alexander. Alexander's actually been with us for a number of months already, but we're just highlighting them all at once. But he's been plugging away ridiculously hard with Alberto. All of these guys are on Alberto's team, and they've been making significant progress on the sidechain. So if you want to know who's coding this stuff, you're looking at Alexander right here. Has been our principal coder, working early on with Alberto in the concept development and architecture and fleshing that out and starting to mature that and adding code to model. Alberto Sala, an extremely senior C++ software engineer, working in Milan with Alberto and the team there, actually doing some significant ZenD upgrades and some things that are going to be significantly performance enhancing to our core software. I will talk about some of these things in our project updates. Andrei Sobel is actually a consensus protocol expert and someone that we're extremely happy to have on the team and helping out maturing our architecture and how we're implementing the sidechain system. So the sidechain system isn't just kind of a set of tweaks to ZenD. We're also putting together here a whole new blockchain system that will be running in conjunction with ZenD, our core protocol. Vadim, an applied cryptographer, a senior applied cryptographer out of Ukraine as well, working with us on making sure that the cryptography that we use, the protocols that we develop, all make sense and are put together in a holistic way where we're using cutting edge technology and pushing that envelope on the technology. And Sergey, a senior software engineer, working with that same team. These guys, this is the team here that is putting together the SDK, or our entire sidechain system, the model, the implementation, and the ZenD core protocol improvements. So very powerful team, very sophisticated engineering group that we've built up over the last several months or last 6 months. And I have to give a huge shout out to Alberto and Maurizio for doing this in Milan and putting together this just high performing team. And the work that they're doing right now, you're going to see matured over this coming quarter. So look out for it. It's going to be very, very, like I said, sophisticated work that we're very extremely proud of. Next slide, please. All right, so completed projects, and just a point here that I'll make is we're only talking about things that we have in blue, or the things that are newly completed or ongoing right now, and we're gonna the ones in black are here for continuity. So the node tracker refinement, Alan's going to go into more detail, but we have constant or continual improvements on our node tracking system, which is arguably one of the most important things that we have here in our ecosystem. So the way that we have people participating in the community, running nodes, and how we track them, that they're actually running, not gaming the system, for instance, and then how we pay them is extremely important. Such a major part of our architecture, our total system level architecture. Alan and Chronic have been doing a phenomenal job maintaining this and continually improving it. Next slide, please. You'll see the ongoing projects. Okay, so Horizen Academy. So Jonas is going to do the grand unveil here, but guys, I'll just hint at it. Horizen Academy is now live. We've launched it. This has been something in the works for a little while, and very happy for it. It is super cool. I was just checking it out earlier before this, and very, very proud of this and what the team has done putting together. I'm going to leave it to Jonas to go into the details there, since Jonas is one of the major driving forces behind making this possible. Sphere by Horizen. So Team Gustavo has been doing a phenomenal job continuously developing our flagship application here. And what I'm going to highlight when we get to these slides is that we have two release cycles right now. One is going live this month, and we're testing these improvements, and then we have one that's kind of our routine scheduled quarterly cycle, which is in sync with our deprecation cycle. Then the sidechain SDK work, there's a lot of work going on here and a lot of progress being made. All I'm going to highlight here is that we're booking ourselves as 40% complete on the alpha, and expect the alpha in Q2. And then the beta following that in Q3. And Mauricio is going to go into more detail about all of the elements that are going into this and the progress on each of these elements. Next slide, please. All right, so we're going to have two releases of ZenD here. So the 2.0.17 release, we're 80% complete on. This is going to be Q2. And the features here, again, we're only highlighting the features that we're working on in the next release. We actually have current development for work going on beyond that we're not going to be talking about here. And Mauricio is going to be going into more of the detail. So the transaction confirmation finality, the RPC method that we've been talking about for a while now, is actually going live in Q2. And block max complexity parameter, which limits the transaction inputs for the get blocked template, call from miners and mining pools is going to be a significant improvement. Something that maybe we haven't talked about in a while, but last year became problematic when we had just a flood of traffic on our system from many input transactions, and it bogged things down. So this is another performance enhancement that happy to have go live with the 2.0.17 upgrade. And then rolling quickly from there, the 2.1.0 improvement is 30% complete. And here's where we have our sapling introduction to our system and transaction signature scheme resolving a quadratic scaling issue here. So this is, again, performance improvements to make our system more robust and just faster. We want to constantly make it faster and more robust. Because if we want to actually get out there and be a payment system or do all of the other big things that we have as a platform in mind, we have to make sure that our core protocol is fast and efficient, and we're constantly improving that. Then Sphere by Horizen, we have a mobile release scheduled for Q3, 60% complete right now. Here's where Nicola and our crypto particle partners have been working with Gustavo and their team to push this forward with a Q3 release officially. Right now, we're in the integration testing phase, and next is system testing, and then we'll have, and this will be for iOS and Android. It'll be fully compatible with the desktop versions that you know and love for the software. So really excited for that. Next slide, please. All right, and here's where I'm going to pass it off to Mauricio to go over quite a bit of detail on the engineering side. So have at it, Mauricio.
Thanks, Rob. And before going to the details, I want to confirm myself that the quality of the team is amazing. So I'm impressed myself about the amount of code that they managed to code, and the level of the discussion we are having is really impressive. And so the pictures that we see in the slides are of a workshop in Kiev, where we've defined some elements that we've been discussing even before the workshop for a long time. As Rob said, and as we all know, we are working on an SDK to build sidechains in an easy way. And sidechains are, a sidechain is a blockchain that has got its own rule, its own data, but that is able, the sidechain that we are building is a sidechain that is able to receive and to send Zen to the Horizen blockchain. And we're not imposing. I mean, of course, we'll make change to the Horizen blockchain to allow this to support this protocol to communicate with sidechains. But we are not imposing too many design constraints on the sidechains. But we are building an SDK, and we are making decisions on the tools that we are providing with the SDK. One of these decisions is about the consensus that will provide as a tool, and we've done a lot of studying to select what consensus protocol provide with the SDK, and we've selected Rob-Rose-Prowse, and mainly because of the ability to deal with delays of messages exchanged among actors of the sidechains, and for its robustness against a certain kind of possible attack. And that is, to make it simple, it's connected to the way the randomness is used, that in this protocol will be used by the single forger to see if he's allowed to forge a block in that slot. And so that has been decided, and we've also defined the mechanism to anchor sidechains and main chains. That is, when a message, we call it certificate, is sent from sidechain to main chain, then it will be read by the sidechain from the main chain and published again on the sidechain, and that will keep the system, robust together. We've also completed the work on the BLS aggregated signature. So this is a magic that comes from elliptic curves and bilinear pairing that allows this particular kind of signatures to be summed up, so that you sum up the signatures, and you can verify that signature that is not longer than a normal single signature with the sum of the public keys of the signers. And that is, so it's very good because it's a very nice feature, because we'll allow the certifiers to sign in sidechain and in the end publish on the main chain, so on Horizen blockchain, just a single signature aggregating all of them. And we can move to the next slide, where we are gonna talk about ZenD. So it's a lot of work. We are working in parallel. I mean, of course, two different teams, but working in parallel on two different upgrades. The one that is coming next, end of April, will, well, Rob said it already. We will have we will add to an RPC method that will give us information about how many blocks will be needed to potentially revert a transaction. And this is complex because we need to consider if there is a fork in the already happening in the blockchain, and also if a penalty has been applied. We know that we've got a tool that protects us against 51% attack, so that applies penalty to a fork. So that needs to be taken into consideration when calculating the amount of blocks that need to be mined to revert a transaction. So all that will be calculated, and we'll have a way to check that. And also we will again, Rob mentioned this. We will solve the problem of transactions with too many inputs. That by changing the way that we deal with that, moving the check of complexity from the single transaction to the block. And then after that, the following upgrades will be bigger, because we will have a sapling, and we know everything about that. And I'm not going to add anything but the fact that we will, of course, get much better performance in terms of time, especially to create a proof or shielded transactions, and memory need. And we'll also solve with that the quadratic hash scaling problem that we have as a legacy from the original Bitcoin software, and we will address that in the same way that Zcash did with our Overwinter upgrade. And I think, Rob, that's it from me.
Okay, thank you, Mauricio. And let me start my video again. Okay, great. So as you can see, there's just a ton going on the engineering side, and we have some very sophisticated deliverables out to market in the not so distant future. So stay tuned. Now on the product side, Sphere by Horizen is continuously improving as well. And as previously mentioned, we have two different release cycles here. So we're going to have an out-of-cycle upgrade scheduled for this month. So it's actually ongoing testing right now. And then we're going to have our normal release cycle will coincide with our deprecation cycle for core software. Here's what we have going into the very next one. So development is complete and testing in progress for user console. Now this is for advanced users. If you are an advanced user and you're used to using command line, which is very flexible, and you can do batch scripts and all sorts of cool stuff that advanced users typically do. Well, you can also have your GUI wallet open, and you can be doing this within your GUI wallet. So very, very happy for that. And the ledger seed phrase restore is going to be enabled in this next release, which is really important for if you ever have to recover your ledger. And this just happened to me recently, is I was not able to actually spend from my ledger, so I had to do a seed restore to another device or another wallet. And it's going to be very nice to be able to do this directly in Sphere by Horizen. So that will be a very nice feature for our users, and then just other general bug fixes for improvements. Then the new features going to the next release cycle that coincides with the deprecation cycle, the polished UI, batch withdraw and batch split, which are for power users on the node side. So people that run a lot of nodes, it's very convenient. If you're not doing batch scripts yourself, the next best thing is to have a wallet to be able to do this in a more elegant way. So currently, our node operators often use Horizen. And once we have this release out to market, you will be able to use Sphere by Horizen. And the next slide, we'll get in, show you a little graphic of the GUI and what that's going to look like. And then we're going to have the transaction history, historical. Right, just very simple user UI improvement here. Rather than just pulling the current spot price and assigning this current spot price to your historical transaction feed, actually locking in the historical price at the time that you made the transaction, so that you can see the actual economic magnitude of those transactions in relation to your fiat currency of choice. All right, so that'll be nice for the usability side, and we'll couple other additional minor improvements. The big point here, guys, if you want to follow progress for the Sphere by Horizen project, we have a nifty link for you here. So it's horizen.global/Sphere by Horizen. Check it out, keep track, and make suggestions for improvements, new features that you'd like to see. So the more engagement and interaction we have with the community, the better, and the better our products are to meet your needs. Again, consider everything we do here for you, and be active and engaged, and make sure that what we're doing is in line with what you want to see. Next slide, please. And here's just the graphic showing you what it will look like. Now, the way to look at this, say you've got 10 or more, a whole string or sequence of nodes that you're running, and you're getting these micropayments accumulating to these nodes. Well, what you want to do to be efficient to manage your nodes is often rebalance, right? So why not sweep the balance in excess of the minimum that you need to run the node, say 42 in the case of a secure node, or 500 in the case of a super node, and sweep these smaller payments into new addresses instead of new nodes, and constantly rebalance and set up new nodes. This is an efficient way to run, say, a node business, and it's really nice to have software that makes it easier for you. So power users, again, could run their own scripts and do this. It's great when you have a large number of nodes to do that, but also really nice to have it in your GUI wallet. So this would be a nice feature for our node operators to be able to do that, in the same application. And this is what we meant by having continuous improvements for the Sphere by Horizen application. Next slide, please. And here is where I'm going to hand it off to Alan to talk about all of the good stuff that's going on the node system side.
Thank you, Rob. Regarding the counts, it looks like we've been staying fairly steady over the past month or so, with the 24,000 secure nodes and 3,000 super nodes. After the Zend update last month, the challenge time thresholds were decreased about 33% because the performance of the shielded transactions used by the challenges increased. So we had the increase in performance. We just wanted to keep the matchup between the performance and the hardware that's in use about even. The Node Tracker 0.4.0 started being enforced on March 1st. Most nodes updated. There's still a few stragglers out there running old versions. Along with the benefits listed here, the random retries on Reconnect have made updating the tracking server software simpler, because we now have all of the nodes reconnecting spread out over a period of time rather than all at once. So that makes the backend updates for administration easier. There have been some updates and clarifications to secure and super node requirements. So if you're a node operator, please see the online documentation for node criteria and reward eligibility. Links to the documentation can be found on the Horizen website. In the last server update, deployed on March 3rd, just a few days ago, one of the updates addressed how stake addresses can be changed. Unfortunately, there were some node operators taking advantage of the easy way the stake address could be changed at any time. They were actually found to be using random addresses found in the Block Explorer and then changing to their own address just before payments were generated. So we've closed that loophole. Based on that, the following changes were made to tighten up the process. A stake address can only be changed once per earning period. The stake address in use at the start of the earning period is the one paid. So with these two changes, if you have any questions, your node operator that needs to make a change in the stake address, see the documentation that we have online in the maintenance section. We also addressed duplicate IP address checking, so that has been enhanced. Since there are no user accounts on the tracking servers, the IP address is part of the node's identity within the system and must be unique. So that's one of the reasons why we're really enforcing the duplicate IP address issue. And we have an ongoing investigation with the certificate checks, with the new check that was instituted last month. Some nodes were experiencing frequent short downtimes. We're still looking at it, but right now it appears that Zen may be busy during the cert check. So what we have done as an interim solution is increase the retries so that no short duration downtimes are created. We're going to continue to monitor this and see if there are any other causes and what we might be able to do to mitigate that. And that's about the updates for the nodes. And I'm going to hand this over to Jonas.
Yep. Hey, everyone. So I have the honor of introducing you guys to the Horizen Academy, which is our new educational platform on blockchain technology, online privacy, and everything around blockchain in general. So we started out because we found the problem that it's easy to find content or that you find answers to any question, but it's difficult to find the answers with just the level of prior knowledge required that you actually have. So what we did is created the Academy for everyone, regardless of the prior skill level. And we have the content in 3 levels. So no matter if you're a beginner, an advanced user, or rather an expert user, we have content for you. And we just wanted to share the knowledge that we have and share the passion that we have for blockchain technology and decentralization. Could I have the next slide, please? So here you see a preview of our academy. The link is below in the video description. And we have 66 articles live for you already. And we'll add a bunch more over the coming weeks and months. We covered 6 topics. So we cover blockchain technology, online privacy, and our own project Horizen, as well as the history of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. We have an ELI 5 section, so an Explain It Like I'm 5, where we break down the major concepts behind blockchain into the most simple form possible. And we have collected a bunch of resources for you, like different articles that are great reads, documentaries, and podcasts. So it's a great starting point for everyone that wants to learn about all of this. And please check it out. Would be great if you leave feedback. So we've set up an email address for this, academy@horizen.global. We're looking forward to receiving some feedback. This is obviously a first iteration, and there will be many improvements going on over the coming time. We will also add future languages. So the Chinese translations are well on the way. I'd say we're about 80% done with the Chinese content. German is also in the works. Manon is doing a great job on the French translations, and Spanish and Italian will also be added soon. And to end it off, just thanks everybody that was working really hard on the Academy. Vano, who did a lot of the content, Tuan, who did a fantastic job building the website, Linda, making all the designs and graphics. Really good job. Really appreciate that. And thank you, everyone. Thanks also Gustavo and Meg for the continuous support. It was really good building that. And I'll hand it off to Lucy, I believe.
Hey, thank you, Jonas. Hi, everyone. This is Lucy from. Right, let's start. As Rob just mentioned in the beginning, and we participated in an actually award-winning program hosted by Rob Lowe. So this program typically showcases innovative concepts and educational stories to a wide and diverse audience to a global stage. So the program made a documentary presentation of on the topic blockchain technology and privacy, and featured Horizen for that episode. So 4 members from our team represent Horizen in the documentary. Rob, Rosario, and Jonathan all did an amazing job during the production. And a short commercial was aired on national TV just a couple different times just last month. And the complete documentary is being distributed to nearly 200 public TV stations throughout the US until next year, until February next year. So this is really awesome as we are able to expand beyond our regular communication channels to reach a much wider audience base, including the more traditional household audience in US. So this is a big push for our effort to raise awareness of blockchain technology and data security in modern days. And we saw this effort. We saw the effort from a big traffic increase on our social media channels and website since the release of this video. So if you have cable TV service and try to catch us on TV, and you can also check out the documentary video on our YouTube channel as well. So please check out. Next slide, please. Right, as many of you already know that we first cryptocurrency projects that launched a 24/7 help desk that is run by real people. We have recently upgraded our help desk portal with a homepage makeover, better user experiences, and also added a and support. So this means that for all Spanish-speaking users, there's a dedicated service portal to report issues and bugs, and also receive support all in Spanish. So in the future, we will have more languages to add onto the service desk, the help desk portal to better serve our global community. So we have a dedicated team that responds to user issues and questions very, very quickly. So if you have any issues, questions, or product feature proposals, please head to our help desk anytime. Next slide, please. So I featured these very cute stickers, and now they're available to use on our official Telegram group, as well as our Discord channel. I believe Luca is posting the very first sticker in our Telegram group as we speak. So right now we have 33 of them, but if you have any suggestions or new designs or new emotions, please let us know. And then again, thanks to our community member, Kiara, for designing, custom making these awesome stickers. And if you still haven't done so, please join our community chat group on Telegram and also on our Discord as well. Next slide, please. Right, so last month we did a joint promotional campaign with Acre. So part of the campaign was a giveaway where participants needed to complete a series of tasks, and we rewarded 3 winners, $100 each person. So congratulations to these 3 winners. We will be doing similar events in the future. So if you are interested in this kind of events, please make sure that you follow us on all of our social media channels, and also join our Telegram group and Discord channel. Next slide, please. All right, so let's get to some metrics, website and social media. February. Again, and overall engagement and the community growth continued since January. Some of the biggest growth is our Twitter performance, with organic impression per tweet grew by almost 60% and almost 40% increase in our new contact. We have even big growth on our LinkedIn performance, with over 200 increase in followers and over 70% in post impressions. And we also see a big overall growth on our YouTube performance and also video content on the Facebook page. So this again validates the effectiveness of the release of our documentary videos. So please check them out. And we also received an increased amount of traffic to our website and blog site, and also increased visit retention rate as well, which we are very happy about. And so we did see some decrease on average session duration on blog and also bounce rate. So, and it makes sense that we didn't post any very long blog posts on our blog site last month, but but we will look into this and find ways to produce and create interesting and content, so people would be more interested in and look. Spend more time on our blog site and finding out what we've been doing. Next slide, please. Okay, this slide shows what the events that we did last. A presentation with Students for Liberty in Nigeria and Ghana. Those events have been really, really popular, and people love it. With Rolf providing a very useful and educational information about blockchain technology and Horizen. And also Rolf did a remote presentation just this past Saturday in Nigeria. And Arno also attended and presented at Crypto Assets in Frankfurt in Germany. And also our Italian market leader Luca attended a couple of events in Italy as well. So both Luca and Arno, as well as Rolf, will talk more about these events in the slides after this one. So next slide, please. I think I will hand over to Rolf. Thank you.
Great. Hey, thanks, Lucy. That was great. Yeah, I love the Horizen marketing team. So many different things being done. And the one thing is that even though I love the marketing team a lot, sometimes they ask me to do things that are somewhat challenging. And so recently I had the opportunity to write an article for GPU mining subreddit. And I'm like, hey, isn't there a hornet's nest I could stick my arm into instead? But I did that, and I have been doing GPU mining as well as ASIC mining for a while, and then and growing it over time. So I tried to provide an article that was helpful to everybody, and also there was lots of interactions and questions. So I had the opportunity to answer about some of the in detail about things that we had done in making the decision to continue with the Equihash algorithm, as well as answering all sorts of other questions. I think it's, as of today, it's not pinned to the top of the GPU mining subreddit, but there was some good lively discussion over there, so I encourage y'all to head over there and take a look at it. And then I'll go over the upcoming events. We've got a lot of them. We are continuing to do remote meetups that I'm going to participate in, and there's going to be other folks on the Horizen team participating in some of them as well. So more in Ghana, more in Nigeria. We did one in Benin last week, so that was great. Sani from Nigeria went over there and organized that, and he's also going to be going to Liberia. We have one scheduled for that, so that'll bring another African country into the mix. So I really like how we're doing all the different translations on the Horizen Academy, and we're going to be continuing to extend that to every language. A large part of growing the Horizen user base is to really systematically address the ability for people all over the world who talk in many different languages to be able to access Zen and to use it. Also Blockchain and Bitcoin conference in Prague, so that's exciting. And we continue to work with Student for Liberty in a few different places. And then in Los Angeles, we got one there. So if you're in Los Angeles, do that. And the Blockchain Spring School in Germany. So a lot of events, and by doing these events on a small interactive basis, we get to be able to show people how to use wallets, how to use Zen, how to do international transfers, and talk about privacy and our roadmap. Now, we've got some regional updates from different people. Love having these to find out the specific details of what's going on in the individual countries. So I'm going to invite in Arno, and we get to see him on video, which is very exciting. So Arno will join us and give us an update on the markets here.
Hi, everyone. Yes, it is a pleasure, Rolf. Thanks for the introduction. And I just want to take some last words from you about the events, what we do. Today, I had the honor to teach a little bit about CK Snarks in Mittweida. It was a pleasure. Had a lot of students there. And so in Germany, also Frankfurt, great event. Met a lot of enterprise people. Had the honor also to meet Lawrence from Blockstream. He is Italian guy. I said, hey, let's go to Milan. We have an office there. Have a chat with our developers. And I think the events are great. It's a pleasure to meet every person and talk about how the space and the ecosystem is growing, especially in the privacy area. And saying that, I can tell you from the French area, from France, there is going on some government questionnaire, and Manon and Dorian are working there to register Horizen as a cryptocurrency project, so that everyone in France knows we are doing great and what we are doing actually, like the content. And then I have news about Africa as well, especially Kenya. So I want to mention that our partner Strathmore University is hosting in March a business workshop about blockchain generally. And the interesting thing is that in Kenya, they released also a book. It's called Understanding the Blockchain. And Kenya government has set up kind of task force. It's called the Blockchain and AI Task Force with the chairman, Professor Bitange and Demo. So really there is a big movement coming. So I would say we have a spring in our ecosystem. Saying that, the events for March are also a lot. I'm glad that Jonas is going to Berlin to get the latest technical details, which I think also help to make our Horizen Academy very successful and also for an expert level interesting to read. So really looking forward to that. We have in France also some meetups where I think more the networking is in the foreground, which is very good for Manon and Dorian. And saying that, we have also in Spain a conference where I will be speaking. So like last month, March will be exciting, and I will hand over to the next speaker, who is Vano. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Arno. Thanks. We missed you. So here are my updates from Eastern Europe, Russian, Georgian, and CIS market. So we have Rob's interview published in Blockference, which is a local website in Georgia for public event listing. And the link is bit.ly/Rob's interview. And my interview about our 51% attack solution has been published by Blockchain and Bitcoin Conference in Prague, and the link is for that is bit.ly/Vanos interview. And I'll be talking about our upcoming events in Eastern Europe, and Eastern Europe, which we will be attending and speaking. And the first one is Blockchain UA in Ukraine, Kiev, where our director of R&D, Alberto Garofolo, will be speaking about Horizen's sidechains. And I'll be speaking in Prague at Blockchain and Bitcoin conference about our 51% attack solution. Both of these conferences are planned on March 22nd. So on that day, we are covering the whole Europe. And we also have an ongoing series of polls in our Russian language Telegram group. The handle of the group is Horizen RU. And I wish to ask our community to join our social media channels at Horizen RU and Horizen GE. We are present on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And with that said, I wish to pass it to Luca.
Hello, everybody. Luca here for, as reported last time, for the revolution of the blockchain technology, and very busy the amount of events that are being organized all over the country. So I had to, I took the chance to participate to some of them, including one called The Future of Blockchain in Italy. It was organized by Associazione, the Italian association of companies that are implementing projects or simply interested over the research and development in blockchain space. I also attended some Milan events, but where I'd like to focus this update is over the event that was held at Milano, one of the most important universities in Italy and in the world, actually, since now it's in the top 10 wide ranking. So a few months ago, me and Rob had the chance to meet them in person. We met with Valeria Portale, head of Blockchain Observatory, and last week Valeria and the Green team presented the results after 1 year spent studying the blockchain in Italy and in the whole world. And the results were very encouraging, I would say. The third country in Europe per number of projects, right after Germany and UK, with interest toward the applications that are able to leverage privacy technologies. So this is to summarize that lasted an entire day. So of course it was more than this, but to me it was one of the best blockchain events organized in the country. So congratulations to Valeria's team. We are also speaking with Versluis, professor at Politecnico Milano and one of the experts that are part of the national blockchain that was started in January, with the goal of developing a strategy for Italy. So we have a few open tables with them. We are getting known and visible in the Italian crypto space, and this will for sure help the adoptions by privates, but also by large organizations. There will be some other events in Italy. One of them is the traditional Milano Digital Week, which is a week full of events, technologies in general, like augmented reality, but also related to blockchain in particular. So this is it, very interesting. I'll get the chance to tell you what was the Milan blockchain events like in the next month. Now, and I will pass it over to Angie for the traditional Latin American market update. Thank you.
Thanks, Luca. So hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here as always. So what's happening in the Latin American market? We're super excited because today we are hosting one meetup here in my city, in Monterrey, at Tec de Monterrey, which is a very big and university. So we are super excited. We're going to present the things we are doing, talk with the community, There's students attending, business people. We're going to do a bunch of networking, so that's super cool. We're having free pizza, so please feel free to join us. We're going to be there, me and Ruben, hosting the meetup. And we also would like to invite you guys to host a meetup in Mexico or in other countries of Latin America. We need the support. We need the community. We love to talk with people out there. So please feel free to reach out on Discord or Telegram to join our meetups and spread the word. We're also going to be having and releasing a video collaboration with our partners at Students for Liberty. So we hope to have it ready for the next monthly update to show you guys how cryptocurrencies and blockchain projects can interact with these freedom movements, which I believe it's very, very cool and awesome. As Lucy mentioned, we have ready our help desk in Spanish because we believe it's very, very important to continue supporting our community questions. So the whole Spanish speaking community can reach out to us. Please feel free to do so. And we hope to see you guys today. We're super excited, and keep the good work, keep it going, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Angie. That was a great update. Okay, so we're moving on to, let me get my video up and going here. We're moving on to questions and answers. Ask us anything. And, you know, it's me. Rob had to leave for a meeting with whoever he had to meet with. And so thankfully, we've got a great team. And anybody who's presented so far today, make sure you stand by just in case I need your help on any of these questions. But let's go through these. So some of the questions have been accumulated in the Discord here over the last month. So we'll have some of those as well. Let's see. First question, Austin Mark, wondering if the software release dates are more conservative or more aggressive. Well, when we first started, I'm talking about almost 2 years ago, we didn't really have a software release process, and we had some great community contributions. And then over the last 6 months, we've really done a great job of getting software project management into order and continued to staff up on professional programmers, software developers. So that's helped a lot. So my feeling is our software release dates are much more realistic. I don't think that they are too conservative. My experience in the technical realm is things always take longer than you expect that they're going to be to do, but I think we're pretty close on the release date expectations. Let's see, Andy 5012 has a comment that he sees Ledger integration for Q3 and Q4. This is specifically Ledger integration for the Sphere wallet, so it's hardware key integration. Well, this is Ledger key software recovery first. So if you use a Ledger, you'll have multiple accounts. And so first, it's account recovery with the Sphere wallet. I'm not sure about the actual key hardware wallet integration, although I'd love to see, for example, the Trezor Model T integrated with the Sphere. I know there's already support on the Trezor side for that. Let's see, a question about BlockDAG. So BlockDAG is a little bit further out. So a question on if we're going to move away from the Bitcoin block consensus system, should we look into the possibility of using Mimblewimble? So there's Mimblewimble is a neat technology using confidential transactions, transaction cut through, and a number of other things in order to maintain improved privacy on the blockchain. There's a couple projects that just launched with it, Grin and Beam, where they have, for most users, no permanent addresses, although I'm mining Beam right now on one of my GPU rigs, so I know that you can create more permanent addresses. So that's a good technology. There are some concerns and issues with using it. I think we have a very good privacy technology in using the ZK snarks. So we're going to continue down that path. I don't see that we really need to integrate Mimblewimble into the transparent transactions, but who knows? That's always a possibility. And let's see. From Austin Mark, Craig Wright says he has the technology to make Zcash and Horizen private transactions completely traceable. Do I have any concern? No, I don't really have a concern about what Craig Wright talks about at all, really. So I think I'm just going to want to move on from there. Let's see. Commenting on off-chain challenges for secure nodes. So let's back up a little bit and let's talk about supernodes. So supernodes have extra hardware capabilities because they are specifically designed to run the sidechain application that make the Horizen system work. So supernodes have beefier specs so that they can run the sidechains for the governance, treasury, and voting system, and also for the secure and supernode tracking and payment system. So that's the idea behind supernodes. The interesting thing about our sidechain development is that as far as I understand, and this is open to change in the future, but as far as I understand, it's possible to run sidechains on any computers that are out there that have an integration into the Horizen blockchain. So sidechains are going to be able to be run on computers that or servers that aren't necessarily secure or supernodes. So there may be people that develop third-party sidechain applications that are even more advanced, require more hardware specifications, all sorts of different things like that. And so I expect that there's going to be third-party applications for answering another question here, facilitating instant micropayments. So, of course, on Bitcoin, there is the Lightning Network that's been developed and is in progress. Lightning Network's neat from a standpoint of creating payment channels with locked-in Bitcoin and being able to have instant microtransactions. There's some concerns that I have about Lightning Network because it appears that the path towards overall adoption of Lightning Network over time will be that it'll be mostly on custodial wallets, and over time those custodial wallets will probably be held by organizations that are subject to regulation and thus control. So Bitcoin is going down an interesting path in the scaling solution of Lightning. I think that I know that we'll definitely have sidechain applications that can do faster types of transactions, and I expect that there'll be all sorts of sidechain applications for faster transactions. Somebody will probably develop custodial type ones to make it easy for people. And of course, we also want to be able to continue down the path of having completely non-custodial, private, and anonymous transaction capability. So I would expect that there'd be a sidechain application for that. Okay, just scrolling through the questions here. And, oh yeah, off-chain challenges for secure nodes. That was the question I was answering with that whole thing about sidechains. So as the number of nodes grows, the secure nodes and super nodes are above 20,000 now. In order to enforce hardware requirements and reduce the amount of gaming on the system, what we have been doing is having them do main chain challenges to show that they have the capability of going and finding a transaction deep within the blockchain and then sending that information in a shielded transaction. So that accomplishes a few things. First off, it makes sure that those nodes are maintaining a full copy of the blockchain and also that they have enough hardware to be able to do a shielded transaction. Furthermore, it creates a base layer of shielded transactions at all the nodes all around the world so that people that are doing shielded transactions to do private and anonymous messaging, they don't stand out on the blockchain, or if you use any other kind of in the mix analysis, seeing where those transactions are coming from. So with the implementation of sidechains, or we also have our tracker application, instead of just doing periodically those shielded transactions as challenges, by doing off-chain challenges, we're able to have the server capabilities queried and tested more often. How often? I don't know. I do know it's more often than it's going to be done now, and that's going to help maintain the integrity of the Zen node network. Because of course the purpose of the exercise in making sure that we have robust, secure, and super nodes is to make sure that if the network gets attacked by a denial of service or any other type of system like that, that our network stays up and running. So if a big bank or some type of criminal hacking organization decided they wanted to take down all cryptocurrencies and go start attacking everybody's nodes, I think the Horizen node network would be one of the ones that would stay up the longest, and I expect it would actually stay up and going full time, because I know that a lot of our nodes are run by IT professionals. So additional questions. Is Horizen considering ZK Starks? Well, ZK Starks are interesting. There's a number of different zero-knowledge proof systems out there. I read one recently about Sonic, which seems to be very similar to the sapling implementation of ZK Snark, but requires a much smaller trusted setup than the Growth. So there are other types of zero-knowledge proofs out there. The advantage that we have in using ZK Snarks is that it is fast on the read side of things. It's now fast with the sapling improvements on the write side of things, and we'll have those, or on the creation side of things, we'll have those coming in soon. But it creates a very small footprint onto the blockchain. And so that's one of our concerns, is looking ahead a number of years. We want to make sure that our overall blockchain database size stays small. It's already growing in size. I believe it's a 15 gig blockchain, so essentially that size database, and by keeping ZK Snarks, they stay small. Would we look at doing something like the Sonic zero-knowledge proof in the future? Absolutely. And on side chains, it's wide open. I know one of our initial side chain designs was looking at using bullet proofs as the zero-knowledge proof, and I see no reason why ZK Starks can't also be implemented in a side chain application. Is there going to be, basically Barnabas is asking, can we figure out if there's going to be a real-time board like Trello where non-developers can follow development progress? Well, you got it right here with our monthly updates. I think that's pretty good, where Rob does an overview of the different development process and talks about the future plans, and Maurizio goes more into detail on it, and people can ask questions. That gives you the real-time update. Well, sometimes what we found in having all sorts of different systems out there, in addition to having a system like Trello or a forum or Discord, then you have to have people that are monitoring and keeping those systems up to date, or else they don't do people any good. In fact, they do more harm than good if they're put out there and then not kept up to date. So I know we'd all love to have the Horizen team be huge and accomplishing things on all fronts, on all times, but we have a good team now. We have a good sized team now. We're getting things done, and we are prioritizing things. If the Zen price goes up and we have more funding that we're able to, we'll be able to slowly add people onto the team, and then perhaps adding an updated progress board like the Trello board is something that we can continue to do. A question on the Sphere mobile wallet. Will it sync with the Sphere desktop wallet when released? Well, I'll give you an example. So if you have like a Coinomi multi-coin wallet, which is very nice on your mobile, they give you, I think it's an 18-word backup phrase. Then you can also do Coinomi on the desktop. If you take your backup phrase from a wallet on an Android and then recreate a wallet using on desktop using that same backup phrase, they'll be the exact same wallet. Now that only works in a wallet that has hierarchically deterministic key generation, and that's what the Sphere wallet has. That's one of the big differences between Sphere and the previous Horizen and Swing wallets, is the HD key private key derivation. So what that means is just using that 24-word phrase in the Sphere wallet, it generates the same private keys, which then lead to the same public key, which lead to the same public address as well. So just by having that phrase, you can generate all the different addresses that you'll need. And so if you have that phrase on both your mobile wallet and on your desktop wallet, you'll be able to have essentially the same wallet. They'll sync with each other, but they'll sync by accessing the blockchain by using the same private keys that are determined through the HTTP key derivation. Whew. All right, how's the financial health of the Horizen project? It's good. We did the, so last year, Horizen price was high. We accomplished a lot of different things. What we did when our price compared to government currency was high was we spent the money on things that make a big difference to the project. We went to a lot of conferences. We paid for a lot of research, modeling, and development with IOHK. We got some major things done with InfoPulse. And then we did, the team slimmed down here significantly over the last 9 months or so. And then we increased the amount of treasury payments by taking treasury from 10% of the block reward to 20% of the block reward. So we're pretty much in balance when the Zen price was a little bit lower, and for some reason the Zen price has gone up here in the last few weeks. And so I was talking with, in fact I was in Panama last week before, had a great chance to meet with Rowan and Dean and Rob and Rosario, and talked about the finances, and we're solid. And we also know that we want to, as we grow here, because we have the new funds coming in, we need to grow in a sustainable manner. We have our plans for the long term. We have 2, 3, 5 year plans on things that we want to accomplish with Horizen, and we know to do that we have to have our budgeting to be in a sustainable method. So I think that hits the majority of the questions. I'm going to let Vano type any others in here in the last minute. And hey, for y'all that interacted on the Ask Me Anything, I really appreciate it. And so go over there and check out some of the questions and answers. Please go look at the Horizen Academy. That was a lot of work that our team puts in, and they're going through the translations. I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to call it a day on this live stream, and I appreciate everybody joining, and thanks, and have a great next month. See you next month.